So the other night I was actually streaming some Days Gone late night, but beyond just checking out the game, I was also experimenting with 3 different pieces of tech that I've actually used to make streaming in this room a little bit more viable. Those would have included the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2 for the gameplay, and then something entirely different for the webcam. That's because instead of using my standard webcam, I was actually using the Sony FDR-AX53, which, despite an ugly name, has pretty stellar image quality. In fact, I'm shooting this video on it right now. But doing that wouldn't have been possible without the Elgato Cam Link. Well, technically it might have been possible, but that's something I'll get to in a minute. For now, just know that the Elgato Cam Link was, well, the link that made this possible. For now, let's go ahead and take a look at what the Cam Link is and why it might be an affordable option for you if you're looking to up the production value on your live streams. Really, the Cam Link at its core is just an HD60S cut in half. Inside the box, you'll find the unit itself, a USB 3 extension cable, a sticker, and some documentation with hilariously small print. The unit has one way in and one way out. You'll use an HDMI cable to connect the HDMI output from your camera to the single HDMI input on the Elgato Cam Link, and then just plug it into a USB 3 port on your computer, or use the included extension cable to make that connection if it's not practical to do so. At this point, you can just fire up your camera, select it as a video source or input in your streaming or capture software, and at this point, voila, you've basically just upped your webcam game considerably depending on the type of camera that you're using. Which, that's important because not every camera is compatible with the Elgato Cam Link, which can make it a dicey proposition depending on the model. If you go to Elgato's website, which I've linked below, they actually have a really handy compatibility guide there which will let you figure out if your camera will work with the Cam Link. It offers a pretty good range of compatibility from top manufacturers including Canon, Nikon, Sony, GoPro, and so forth, and the whole thing's actually really easy to navigate because they do let you sort of subcategorize that and filter your results by things like manufacturer, resolution, connection type, and whether it's full or partial compatibility. And I say partial compatibility because in some cases your camera may technically work, but it's not going to work optimally, and really that keys off of 2 particular limitations. Those limitations being clean HDMI output and unlimited runtime. Clean HDMI output simply means that your camera is capable of outputting through HDMI a pure video signal without any of the on-screen elements that you might see in the course of filming. Things like audio levels or grid lines or any of the other information that you might see displayed around the border of the frame. Naturally, you don't want any of these elements showing up in your final product if you're going to be live streaming because that would just be distracting for your viewers. Unlimited runtime, as the name suggests, means that as long as it's powered, it can essentially run indefinitely. That's especially important if you're using a DSLR, since those kind of cameras are known to basically have a limit to how long they can continually record. Speaking personally, my Canon T3i was completely incompatible with the Cam Link, and in fact, even if it was, it probably wouldn't have been a good situation because I also had that sort of limit where if I try to let video run continuously, it'll stop recording at about 12 minutes. That makes it fantastic for videos like this where I can film and edit in short bursts, but not so great in a situation like a live stream where you want to make sure that the image is going to be running continuously. And because my T3i wasn't compatible, I decided I would go ahead and give it a go with the Sony FDR-AX53. Just terrible name. So knowing what it is and how it works, should you actually grab an Elgato Cam Link yourself? And I would say really it depends on the setup that you're already working with and what your goals are. For instance, if your webcam already works just dandy and your viewers are happy with it and you're happy with it, congratulations. You can live on in blissful ignorance and continue webcamming it up with a complete disregard for the Elgato Cam Link. Another reason to completely disregard the Elgato Cam Link would be if you have an extra capture card lying around. If so, then you probably don't need one of these at all. The same way that you're able to capture gameplay footage through an HDMI signal, you could do the exact same thing with a camera, again, assuming you can output a clean signal. Because your capture card should also show up as a video source or input device in a lot of streaming and capture software also, so again, probably not a good scenario where you would need to purchase an Elgato Cam Link. But if those scenarios don't apply to you, there may be a couple reasons to consider it. One is if you're about to throw down folding money for a new webcam, but you already have a camera that's on this compatibility list, this is totally worth a shot. And the reason for that is the gigantic image sensors, better low light performance, and autofocus features of a camera like this will absolutely blow away the performance of your standard webcam. Now that's not a knock against webcams like the Logitech C920, that's an excellent webcam and I have 2 of them myself. But at the same time, it's never going to come close to the kind of image quality you can get from a larger camera that gets funneled through the HDMI of the Elgato Cam Link. The other scenario under which you might want to pick up an Elgato Cam Link would be if you've been using a webcam for streaming, but you just want to step up your production values a little bit and have everything look a little bit more clean and a little bit more professional. Now, I'm always going to go back to the fact that content value will trump production value every time. But in the words of my favorite hero, is it too much to ask for both? So I'm going to continue testing this and streaming with it to see how much I really like it, but my initial impressions of it are really, really positive. It has almost no setup whatsoever aside from plugging in a couple of cables, and most of your software should be able to pick this up no problem. You can get this in a 1080p or 4K version for $89.99 or $129.99 respectively. The 4K might be overboard. You're not going to necessarily be streaming in 4K because that would probably put a real burden on your bandwidth, but at the same time you don't necessarily have to stream in native 4K. It might be that you're still streaming in 1080p, but with 4K you may be able to zoom in on frame a little bit more and have some more framing flexibility without losing image quality at the same time. So if you've been thinking about a cam link, I'll go ahead and drop links to both models below, and if you'd like to go ahead and get one for yourself using one of those links, that would be tremendous because it's a huge help for the channel. Now, if you have any questions about the cam link or something I didn't cover, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer those questions. Or if there's some additional testing you'd like me to run through it, I think I have some other devices in the house I could probably run through it to kind of see what kind of results we get. Feel free to let me know in the comments below, or you can always hit me up on Twitter at @It'sYourPlayer2. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch. I really appreciate it. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to be notified when new stuff comes out. Usually that's on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then streams in between with said cam links. So, alright, I'm going to take off. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.